Hello, everyone. This is Sharon and Robert Porter from Trucking in Business, and we have a guest on today, Leslie Ingram. That's going to we're going to allow her to introduce herself and let us know what she do and uh, who she is and who and what she do. And today we're going to be talking about the mindset of a driver, the mindset of a business owner, the mindset period as a whole. So without further ado, Leslie, why don't you introduce yourself and let us know who you are and what you do?
Great. How you guys doing? Thank you for having me. Thank you for allowing me to speak and come before your audience today. My name is Leslie Ingram. I'm an entrepreneur. I am the owner or part owner of Keep It in the Family Trucking, LLC. I also have a consulting company that I deal with bookkeeping and contracting with, that is KIITF Consultants. And then I'm also a mobile notary here in Montgomery, Alabama. So that is MGM Mobile Notary Services. And the reason why we have gotten together is right now I'm working on a project with MGM Works and the City of Montgomery Chamber of Commerce, Alabama Trucking Association, and J.J. Keller to try to get our truckers back to work. And we're looking at young people who are transitioning into a new career, second chances, I would say, because I don't like the term that they put on them as felons, because these are things that has happened and some of them were a victim of circumstances. And so therefore they were in the wrong place at the wrong time. And so that's why I like to call them second chances. And these are individuals who really are reaching out and want a second chance.
Absolutely. So I guess we need to dig into this conversation today as to, what type of mindset or, however you want to start off. Of course, we've talked in the back channels, we've talked offline, so is different ways that we could go with this conversation. So I guess we just need to be led, by the Lord. So go ahead.
So correct. We were talking about mindset and how some people are either proactive or reactive. And, some believe that there is a science versus the humanity side of it. Is it nature versus nurture? Or how do we come into this mindset? And, for some people say that I wake up happy and I'm just successful and this is how I am. And they just believe that. With others, they believe that, they're full of doubt and they're always blaming themselves and they feel like, they have that woe is me. And when you think about it, it all breaks down to a mindset. And that determines your values and what you as an individual can achieve or will do. And so if you wake up believing that every day is a blessed day and this is the day that I'm going to try to do something new and different, I feel like I'm constantly being stretched. And so that mindset that I have is either you're stuck in either a fixed one or a growth one. And I always want to be in the growth aspect of it. So, what are your thoughts on it? Is it, when I look at the fixed mindset, for some of them people, they say, it is what it is. And I always ask, what do you mean by that? Because that's really kind of a broad statement for something or how they are. And what I found is that they just believe that when they have that fixed mindset, that everything is just this way, this is the way it's going to be, it is what it is. And so they're constantly trying to prove themselves as basically the know-all. We might know them or see one of them in a family member, in a co-worker, but they have to be the know-it-all in a room. Whereas you get somebody that's more, that's in that growth aspect, they're believing that every day that they come in, that there's a different strategy to it, and that you can evolve every day and you can grow. And that difference makes the difference between that growth and that fixed mindset. And so, as a business person and trying to help my community, I'm looking to change that mindset from a fixed to a growth. And if we can change that, we can help one another.
Wow, you have said a mouthful. That, my God in heaven, wow, that's so powerful. Because I tell you, this is why we need to hear interviews and stuff like this, because you learn things from a different perspective. So it also changes the mindset. Now, you said something about a mindset that, I guess it's a stagnant, that stay in one spot, and then you talk about a mindset that is constantly growing. Now, let me ask you this: that mindset that stay in that one place, that stays in that they think they know it all, does it mean that they stop the ability from them growing or learning, or uh, how does that play a part in their being successful in a business if they are stuck? Because I want to break that down, and I want to break the other one down as well. Both components that you brought out. But how does that play in a good part? Let's talk about this mindset that has you stuck, that you in this one. But I just want to say this one particular tunnel that you do not want to learn or adapt or adjust. How helpful and how dangerous is that?
So it is my belief, and I'm not a doctor, psychiatrist, or any of that. I can only speak for my personal individual growth and my individual being. But that fixed mindset is because I was once that person that was in a fixed mindset. I was, uh, my friends called me a 16 overachiever. I graduated from high school when I was 16. I went to college, I did this, did that. I didn't really try, and I stayed on the honor roll. So, you know, but that was me when I was constantly trying to prove stuff to somebody else, and so that's that fixed mindset that, you have to work on as an individual is, you know, and that's a good thing. Don't get me wrong, because when you realize that it's a mindset that's where you are, like whether it's fixed or it's in the growth state, you got to first acknowledge that it's there. And once you have acknowledged that this is a fixed mindset, and if I want to be better, I got to realize, where did this come from? Who told me it was okay to be this way? Who told me it was okay to act this way? And is this what my culture that I surround myself allows or tells me? And so I think this is right.
Wow, 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 wow. So, man, this has been a true blessing to me, because now I see now with that fixed mindset, it's about proving yourself, thinking that you are capable of doing what you think that you're capable of doing, but yet in the same token, you're losing, because you're losing the ability to be able to expand and to broaden your knowledge of what you need in order to be successful. Because in the trucking industry, let's face it, it's ever changing, it's always moving, nothing stay the same. An example, logging now and logging 10 years ago, on duty service has changed several times. So it doesn't stay the same. But if you have that fixed mindset, because let me just give you a small story. I know when me and my wife went back out on the road, I had the company mindset. And when I got out there, I learned quickly that company mindset didn't help. My training helped, but not the company mindset. So, and what I mean by that is, as I was coming through, training and learning how to drive a truck, learning how to back it up, all of that played a part. But the mindset of the company did not play, because I realized that mindset of the company kept me stuck in one mode. Literally, to be quite honest with you, that's what kept me broke. So I had to, it's like when I came out, it's like, oh my God, I'm lost. At that point, me and her had to realize we need a mentor. We need somebody somewhere to help us make this transition. And so, we start talking to people. I got there, start talking to people. Hey, how did you do this? How was this done? Because now I have transitioned, so I needed help in order. Then I start listening. But if I stay stuck in that company mindset, I would not been able to achieve, or we personally, would not been able to achieve the things that we have achieved, because of that mindset did not support what we was doing or what we was getting into.
And we also realized that we had to remain teachable. And that's one thing about the mindset that you have to take on. You always have to be teachable. You always have to allow yourself to be a student, because if we would have went back out on a road and said, we're going to do it this way, because, you see it a lot of times with drivers, especially, as my husband just mentioned, that, when the logging system had changed, people had to go from using paper logs to electronic logs, and a lot of drivers older drivers got off of the road because they said, I'm not going to be getting on that electronic thing. And the mindset was, I'm not going to do that. And they rejected it. But we had to realize that, I know from myself and my husband, I'm so glad that they did come out with the electronic logs. Everything, has its pros and cons, but I didn't enjoy drawing those lines across the paper and saying what city I'm in and trying to write it in that small spot. So
I know.
Praise God for the electronic logs. You don't have to do that. So yeah, definitely. You just want to say something, Robert?
Yeah, but the mindset of those people that had a hard time of transition, or I'm not going to make enough money, or I'm not going to do this, I won't be able to do that. They focus on the negative, and that's when you got people that are locked in certain things. They stay focused on the negative, so now the thing is, people realizing, hey, wait a minute, I'm making just as much money or even more money now with these electronic logs than what I was doing with the paper logs. So now, basically, these electronic logs, what it does, it takes our mind off of dealing with them things with the paper and have us focus more on the road, and for us being safer on the road than with them paper logs did, so I work on them as well. So go right ahead. Let go right ahead.
So that's why when we come to that street where we have to make a decision between failure and success, that's when we start looking at these different mindsets. That's when you can see that growth mindset taken on. And when that growth is in there, we always trying to learn. We're always trying to improve. We're always trying to be stretched. And it's kind of like one of the books I read back when I was a child, Who Moved My Cheese? And it was all about, being adaptive to what's going on, to these environments, because this is what keeps you employed. This is what keeps us growing. And as long as you're open instead of not fixed or closed, you can gain momentum. Somebody can talk to you. You can see the good in everything. And like you were saying earlier, when you get into that mindset of, I can't do it, guess what? You won't. If you say you can't do it, you won't do it. The mind is a very powerful thing. You can control it. And a lot of people stop and they give their power away. But the thing about being, in that growth mindset is you got to open yourself up for others to grow. Because, our relationship, although it's new and young, we both have embraced the fact that we're flawed. And the thing about embracing it when you're in that growth area, we can communicate to each other that it's okay. We know that we're going to make mistakes, but our relationship will be made stronger because we're going to communicate. We're going to make the effort to work together. And that's what makes us stronger and better, as drivers, employers, and even out there in the industry. So I think that's another big part of it. What do you think?
What you gonna say?
Yeah. All I can say is just wow. Yeah, it's you have really brought some real awesome and key points in on this, sis. And man, it's so many things when you lock in a certain mindset that you take for granted, because that's what it brings me back to. When you in that fixed mindset, you take a lot of things for granted. And so when something comes your way that pulls you or try to stretch you because you are not there, it's just like a rubber band, for an example. If you have a rubber band that has been well adjusted and well lubed, you can stretch that thing. But if you have a rubber band that's dry rotted and hard, it snaps.
Mm-hmm.
So when
Right.
it snaps. So when you in that mindset that you don't grow, or you stay in that one narrow mindset, anything can come your way to snap, to take you out of the very thing that you have tried so hard to work, that you have tried hard to work for. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So it's amazing how important that you locate yourself and you think about, your positioning and what you're doing right now, the mindset, how you thinking, and, excuse me, this is where journaling and writing things down helps, because it shows you how you thinking towards some things. So, sis, could you just tap on that a little bit about writing things out and how that can help with how you actually process and think about things?
I sure can. So like with me, you're right. When you think about this, your trajectory and the direction in which you're going is placed out there or limited by what you do. So when you stopping and you thinking about these different things and you journaling or you writing it down, okay, this is my goal. At the beginning of the goal, I'm setting this out there. This is what I'm hoping to achieve. I want to, whether it's start a business, go to school, get my CDL, you put it out there. And I believe if you put it into the atmosphere and you working positively in that direction, you will find people that will help you and support you along the way. When you discuss things and you're really putting it out there into the atmosphere and you got the mindset that it's going to happen and you positive about it, because you got to be positive. If you're in a negative mind frame, you still fixed. But if you open about it, you're open to the possibilities of success. You open to the possibilities of greatness, so that when things happen, not to sound religious or spiritual, but when God shows up, he shows out. And you be thinking, I'm thinking, this is my project. I just want to help this little bit of community. Just my little street, my little block. And I put that out there. I just want to help my community. And I went to one of the Chamber of Commerce mixers at somebody else's business. And I was talking with a couple of guys and a couple of ladies there. And we were talking about, they were like, you only look like you about 4'11", 105 pounds, do you have a CDL license? Flipped it out and showed them, yeah, I got a CDL license, do you want to do this? Do you do that? it's not about what you see. It's in your heart. It's in your mind. You know, if you believe it, you can achieve it. You know, my grandmother used to always tell me, when you tell your mind you can't, you won't. When you say you can, you will. You do. So I don't say I try. I say I'm working on it. You know, as long as I'm working on it, I'm gonna get it. You know, the education thing, the time that I've spent, 16 plus years married to the military, the 20 years I've been married to my husband, and we're still, and he's still actively still in the military. And by those terms, a couple being in the military and have survived all of this time, all of these different countries, that's like unheard of. But when we get to people, watching people and their mindset, you see them move a certain way because it's like things get out of the way and people try to help them on that journey. This is what you need to do. This is what you can do. This is what you can do. Let me help you here. Let me help you there. Because you're open and you want to be stretched and you're letting others pour into you. But when you shut yourself off and you think that you know it all, then how can we help you? You're the best. And so everybody will pull back from you and, they just watch you. But in all of this, people fail to realize that Michael Jordan wasn't first. When he tried out for basketball for the first time, he didn't make the team. He spent hours and hours and hours prepping on this. All of our greats, you see how much time they put in it. Just like the 40 years you guys have been talking about, being in the industry of trucking. I've been in it since 2014. We got people brand new into the industry. Oh, you can do this and you can do that. It's like, I spent blood, sweat, and tears of many a nights. I ran my trucking business from Germany. So while we were stationed over there. So it's just you opening yourself up and allowing others to also be able to pour into you. And that's that mindset that we have to talk about as a people, because somewhere along the lines, you got to realize, where did it come from? So either somebody who influenced you, whether it was a parent, a caregiver, a teacher, the neighborhood, the community, somebody told you couldn't do it. But then somebody else came and said, yes, you can. If you do this, if you do that. Well, look, you did this. Well, look, you did that. And then as you journal on this and you see, okay, I wanted this, check. I started a business, check. Shoot, I just started 3 businesses. Because once you do it one time, you figured it out. And it's rough. We all make mistakes. But a fixed mindset person think they have failed. But if you're open to it and you got that growth mindset where, you just that little seedling in there and you growing, that's nothing but the opportunity to do it again. Because it's just like any other player. If you've left it all out there on the court, if you running track and you put it all out there, if you playing football, you put it all out there, you feel like it was a great experience. You learned something. You know what to do next time. Maybe you won't, hold on to the ball, or maybe you'll throw it a little bit sooner. Maybe you'll throw it away, but you'll make a different decision because you now have more experiences to pull back on. And so that's why I do journal and I write about these things, because then I can see my growth. And once you can note your own growth, when I'm looking at, okay, this is what I wanted to do. Okay, this is what I wanted to do. I wanted to be able to invest. I wanted to collaborate with other people. I wanted to help the neighborhood. I want to educate them about politics and voting on our city level and everything all the way across the board. It helps our community. And a lot of times sometimes people don't know unless we kind of put the seed in there and water it a little bit. We watch them grow, give them a little bit more, give them a little food in there, because some of this stuff, it's like we're all babies. We can't start out eating a steak. Okay, can I get some applesauce and some mashed potatoes, please?
Well, it's interesting how you put that, and I like the way you said it, because since we've been doing this interview, the focus has been mindset. And what I've been hearing is how the mind is set, and if we set our mind to say, well, I can't do that, well, so-and-so said, that I should do it this way, or, maybe you should buy this course, or, maybe you can listen to me and I'll give you a link and charge you $75 for 15 minutes, but the thing is not only do we have to open ourselves up to be teachable, but we also have to have a level of discernment as well too. And that's where we've run into issues at times. And everybody, victory loves preparation, I always say. When you set yourselves out, and like you said, journaling, see what your growth is, writing out, what it is that you want to do. But my thing is seek God for what it is that he's calling you to do, because he may be calling you to go out into the trucking industry or the business that you're going into, but it's the avenue or the path that you have to take to go there. And I know with us, we've had to step back and say, okay, all right, we're running ahead of you, God. I'll speak for me, running ahead of you, God. So, okay, what is it that I need to do? But keeping in that mindset is I'm moving forward, but seeking God is helping me to move forward the way that I should. So that's my 2 cents on it. Did you want to add anything?
Well, I look at the nature of transportation.
Mm-hmm.
Transportation is moving, got to move. It's nothing within transportation says stagnation. It's all about moving. It's nothing about stagnation. And you think about it, since y'all want to go biblical a little bit, you think about a river. If a river don't move, it becomes stagnated, it becomes poison, all sorts of pollutions get in it. And I'm gonna tell you, it's no use for nothing. Mm-hmm. Well, if you have a river that flows, you constantly moving out the stagnation, the poison, the stuff, the toxins and everything that can then hinder you from being set in one place. In other words, always bringing something fresh. Well, when you decide to come into the transportation industry, because it's more than just trucking, but when you come in the transportation industry, you are taking you should have the mindset of always keeping it fresh. Mm-hmm. You're always in an area that you have to keep things moving. Mm-hmm. So what does that take? That means that you have to be open. You have to understand certain things. You're going to have to be schooled on certain things in order for that to take place. Are you going to make mistakes? Most definitely. Absolutely. But the mistakes are just a heart condition. Well, let me put it like this. Mistakes is just a condition to show you where your heart is. So whenever you make mistakes, it's showing you where your heart is towards what either you're going to say, oh, I'm going to give up, or either you're going to say, oh, you know what, I'm going to keep this thing moving. So that mistake is going to tell you exactly how your heart is. And if your heart is in the right place, you're going to look to see how to maneuver. I cannot tell you how many times I've been down that road. When our truck engine just blew up, gone. Mm-hmm. And, something inside you say, oh, I just want to quit. No, we can't quit. Okay, how can we get beyond this? Not realizing when we did that, what we was doing was setting a path to help someone else move forward. So we have to constantly remember, that we are in a business that is calling us and forcing us to move forward. regardless of you a driver, owner operator, if you have your own MC, regardless of what spectrum that you are on, you are called to keep things moving. And your mindset has to be along that line.
Yeah, and we have to, and I'll say this and let you go ahead and finish, Leslie, but it's kind of like that truck, that manual truck. A lot of companies now, of course, when we came through school and everything, you had to learn how to drive that manual truck. You could, if you couldn't shift, you wouldn't pass, to get your CDL.
Right.
And I know a lot of companies right now, they have that where people have that exemption on their card where they don't have to learn how to drive a manual truck for whatever reason. But I look at that as in that truck, and even in an automatic, it's going to tell you when it needs to shift. Of course, you get up to certain RPMs and all of that to, where your truck, either you're going to have to shift it manually, or or the truck is going to shift on its own as it being an automatic. But in having the mindset of kind of like that engine of knowing when to shift, or when it feels like it's time for you to shift. And both of y'all had mentioned about journaling and everything, and that is kind of like a roadmap or a compass of course, coupled with spending time with God, is going to show you when you do need to shift or when it's time to shift. Whether it be you'd have made a mistake and it's like, okay, you hit that rumble strip, and now it's time to wake up, or, just knowing, just the different seasons that you have to go through in business. But you were going to say something, Leslie?
Well, and that's what I was talking about. So with this program that I'm working on with all of these different companies, MGM Works, the City of Commerce here in Montgomery, Alabama Trucking Association, and JJ Keller, all of this it came from my why of wanting to better my neighborhood and wanting to better the environment in which I'm surrounded in, because we all know that the transportation industry is not going nowhere. Everything that we want and need is brought to us via transportation, from the clothes on our back to the food we eat. Ladies, dare not, I say Amazon, but it's always a transportation industry out there. And so to get into that, to knowing that we got people that could be in dispatching, because right now I'm trying to build a prep program, because we got people down here in Alabama that are, they want to get into the transportation industry, but they're afraid. And, they really don't quite understand that all it is basically reading the manual and getting up on it. And, it starts with this, read the book. Then we get the permit. Then we go to the CDL school. Then we start determining if, you want to go be a company driver, or if you want to be an owner operator, But it's so many different facets that you can go into, because you can start in this industry and change, because it happened with me. I literally thought I was getting out of the trucking industry. That's why I started one of my other businesses. But everything keeps pulling me back into it. Every time I try to walk away, I have people that ask me, can you coach me? Can you mentor me? And, I have companies that ask me, can you do my IFTA report? I got drivers that say, can you do my bookkeeping? I just want to drive. I don't want to know none of that. And it's like, fine, but I want you to understand your business, because your expenses and all of these things at the bottom, at the end of the day, that is your responsibility, because it's your company or it's your income that's affected by it. So when we working on these mindsets, you know, and we coming from all of these different industries, we have to remember that, you know, common sense is not common. Everybody's is different. You know, I came originally from the Midwest to the South, and everybody looked at me like, oh, where is this foreign woman? Like, who eats spaghetti with fish? And I'm like, that's normal what I do. And so, you know, we got to make all of these different adjustments for when we have all of these different people around us. So, you know, some of the soft skills that is a big factor or a big issue that's affecting a lot of people is, you know, just the regular communication. You know, we have to learn to talk to each other. You know, we have to kind of coach people like, you don't want to call the CDL unit and fuss at, say, Rhonda, because Rhonda will lose your medical card and you shut down. And Rhonda the only one that can fix it. You know, it's funny, but people don't realize it. And, you know, like we were talking about it on the back channel about, you know, when drivers are going down, that I want my drivers to wake me up, because if there's a problem, people don't want to be out there alone. You know, they feel like they're doing this because they are alone, but you're not alone. And Clubhouse, you know, has made it a great place where people can actually call and talk to people so that they can get through things. And it's funny because a lot of people call me Auntie Leslie, you know, on Clubhouse, because they expect me to come with a certain level of knowledge because of the time that I have in the game. And, you know, the back end of it, the bookkeeping and the compliance and all of that. People want that from me. But I'd be the first one to say, look, I've only driven a couple of times and I drive enough to keep up with my license. What about it? I know I need to be on the low grades when I'm going downhill, but it'd be some of them questions I'd be like, hey, can you explain this to me? I need a seasoned driver to educate me on some things. And so to have a coach or a mentor is key to our success as well, you know. But once again, it's a mindset. Do you think you know it all, or can somebody else come and help you? Can a little girl, you know, walking around with a booster seat to hopping in and out of the trucks? I literally was the only one walking around with a booster seat out there through the range yard, talking about, hold on, let me put my seat in. Okay, now let me pull up and hold on, let me put it all the way up. I have gotten pulled over by the state trooper talking about, I just wanted to see if there was an adult in the vehicle. I'm 50-something years old, son. But that's just a mindset. You know, honestly, when I was preparing for my CDL test, I knew I'm short and I'm a female. They gonna be messing with me. I gotta bring my A game. Mindset. Let's figure it out. You know what you want. Ain't nobody finna stop me. So you can hold my lunchbox while I grab my booster seat.
That is awesome. That's awesome. You mentioned that you're working with some different organizations that you know you're going to be doing some I guess some programs, developing some programs with it. Did you want to speak on that?
So yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. So we have a lot of truckers down here, or I'm not even gonna say they're truckers yet, because I've met people who have records and they don't have a CDL license. And you're probably wondering, why am I saying, you know, they got a record, but they don't have a CDL license? And then we have people who are hauling truck, you know, the cars from Kia and all the little car dealerships around here in Alabama. And they're going to need a CDL license because it's a weight that they're not realizing. And once that, you know, our February 7th kick passed and we're starting to talk about this and the police start stopping them on a regular, then they're starting to think, okay, I need a CDL license now. And that's why I'm here, you know, to basically set up this program so that they can get their CDL permit, because there are programs that are with the workforce that will pay for it in Montgomery, Alabama, for you to go and get your CDL school here. And, you know, we have Trenum University, well, Trenum Community College. That's one of the universities that I'm going to be working with, and that I'm trying to get this so that we're turning over good, capable drivers ready to go ahead and go straight into their program, so that the drivers can then decide to choose. Do they want to be an owner operator? You know, give them a year in time. Some of them already have a business and just want a coach or a mentor. Some of them want to go into dispatching. You know, I don't have to tell y'all, our market is wide open. Some of them want to be quality assurance. Some of them want to, you know, it's a lot of different ways that you can go. And with that opening up down here in Montgomery, and we're getting ready we had an Amazon that's going to be opening up, you know, in another year. We got a FedEx center, you know, distribution center, you know, we got a lot of jobs that's coming. And I don't want people who want the opportunity to miss out on the opportunity because they were once labeled a felon, you know, because they have a second chance now, you know. And let's get out there, because I feel like if people had a way to earn money to pay for their families and to support their families, which, you know, a lot of people want to just give you a hard day's work for a hard day's pay. We're now in an industry, and we're now in a time where you can run locally. Of course, you know, you can make more money if it's over the road. But if they want to be a local driver so they can be there back at night, because we got women that's coming into it at an alarming rate. You know, the Alabama Trucking Association have the Titans that's out there, and that's people that's investing in their program. And they'll be releasing their skins, where you'll see that they got a program that they're developing that's targeting the younger generation. So they're bringing in back kind of almost like, I guess you could say, when we were in school, instead of going to trade school and tech school, Ivy Tech, they coming out with the transportation industry, where they helping people get their CDL and a diesel mechanics. So we're just trying to build a good system where people can go ahead and get a thorough understanding of what it is that they're going to be doing, what are they going to be operating with, and then the opportunity that they can then have a better and brighter future in the long run, so that we can reduce all of this shooting and, you know, all of the violence and everything that's around us, to just make our community a much better and safer place to be.
I guess for the people that's in your area, you know, because of course we're up here in Pennsylvania, but the people that want to tap into those programs, the people that want, you know, that are getting a second chance and all of that, where would they start at as far as tapping into this information?
So you could either give me a call, and my telephone number is 254-338-1269. That's the trucking industry line. Yes, I'm down here in Montgomery, but my Montgomery number is kind of reserved for those mobile notary calls and stuff. And if you're wanting the trucking industry and you want to be a part of this trucking program, then call me there. Now, if you're better at emails, because, you know, we got a lot of technology out there and people that's all on the emails, send me an email to KIITFTrucking@gmail.com. Once again, those initials is short for Keep It in the Family Trucking, which is our business. So it's KIITFTrucking@gmail.com. And I'll be glad to let you know what's going on, what's in our area, and what you can look forward to expecting down here in the Montgomery area.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I guess we can wrap this, unless you had other questions that you needed to ask, Robert.
No, I'm good.
Okay, so
I'm good.
well, with that being said, you know, we'll drop the information in the description below on how you can contact Leslie. She's a wealth of information, definitely plugging into the area. She's being proactive in her area to see what it is that she could do for people that are getting into the trucking industry and into business. So with that being said, we thank you, Leslie, for allowing us to interview you today. We enjoyed this interview. So we'll say to our audience, this is Robert and Sharon Porter, Team Porter of Trucking in Business, and we say be safe.
Thank you again. Be blessed. And if there's ever anything that I could do, just give me a call.